Hey, how's it going? I am here with SlyFox. I'm going to talk about some gaming stuff. What are you playing now?
I always have a couple of things on the go. The main thing that's consuming my time is actually Code Vein on the PS4, which is Namco Bandai. It's an in-house team that have developed that. So it's a lot of people have said, oh, it's like a Souls-like. I can see where they're coming from. Namco Bandai own the Dark Souls IP.
Right.
So it was no surprise really that something along a Dark Souls line was going to turn up.
Just quickly, when they say it's like Dark Souls, what do they mean it's like Dark Souls?
Right, so...
You're talking about the kind of the environment, the time frame, or
no,
fantasy genre, or
no? It's normally down to the combat.
Okay.
It's largely down. I think that's a lot of people would identify is the combat. And I probably disagree with a lot of people on what I think a Souls-like is. I think most people identify the combat. So you have a strong and light attack. You have weapons that you can hold multiple weapons, maybe like one in the offhand, one in the main hand. You can switch between the two. There's gear that you can swap out. There's consumables that you can use. You have an environment that you progress through. There will be a resting place. So in Dark Souls, it's a bonfire. In this, it's like a tulipy looking plant like glowy thing. It's a fucking bonfire.
Yeah.
And if you die before you rest at the next one, you'll respawn at that bonfire and foes will be
resurrected.
Likewise, when you rest at a bonfire, it resets the world around you. You've progressed, but monsters have respawned. So that's largely what people think a Souls-like is. I think you can have those mechanics and yeah, you can identify, but for me, a Souls-like is as much to do with the atmosphere. Yeah, I can see why people would say this is a Souls-like. It certainly ticks a lot of the boxes. It has a central hub area that you sort of quest from. You will find, like Dark Souls, you will find NPCs in the game world that you will interact with, and they may come back to your hub and become a vendor or somebody else that you can interact with. So it does tick a lot of the boxes. So it's got vampires in it, but not in the traditional way that you would think. They are called in this game they're called revenants. They require blood, but they don't have a human bloodlust. If they drink human blood, it can send them over the top, but they sort of mediate it, and they're these blood appley pear looking things that they harvest that apparently were once quite easy to obtain in this world, and shit's gone down and now they're really rare. So and then it's got a very sort of what people would call an anime sort of art style to it. And I think a lot of people people say anime, you either like it or you don't. Fuck off. There's always middle ground. I generally hate anime, but there are some things that I really, really like. Death Note, Black Lagoon, I really enjoyed those as a series, and they have some fucking awesome characters in them. But it has that sort of manga, sort of anime sort of art style. I think it works really well. Extensive character creation option. You can equip a lot of cool gear straight off the bat, aesthetically, that you don't have to quest for, you know.
Yeah.
Selection of fine looking hats, for example. It's always a good thing. I don't really wear hats in real life. I wear sort of like beanie hat sort of thing occasionally. But I like hats, but you have to have the rest of the attire to make it work. And then not the sort of thing that I can just commonly wear to pick up some vape liquid or something, you know. It requires the full jacket and ensemble. So there's a nice selection of hats. So if I get the option to wear a nice hat in a game, normally I wear one. The only issues that I have with it And again, this is a personal thing. I think most people that play would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But I'm really picky when it comes to combat. And that is largely from playing Demon's Souls back in the day. You know, a 3D action adventure game before Souls-like became a thing. And the first thing that I know with Demon's Souls was the sense of connection and weight in combat. If you hit somebody and they've got a shield up, the way your weapon recoils and the feedback you get as the player is believable that you've just hit somebody who's holding the shield up. When you parry, and it all felt weighty and right, but not too weighty, like it was sluggish and cumbersome. They nailed it, and that for me has become the benchmark. So in any game where there's bladed weapons being chucked around, if I don't feel that there is a sense of impact and connection, I don't like the combat. A good example of this is The Witcher 3. Awesome game. Absolutely. If anybody said to me, should I play The Witcher? Yes, go and fucking play it. If anybody says to me, do you like it? I'm like, no, because I don't like the combat in it, because the combat feels paper. And it feels like everybody's made out of a wet Rizzler paper. And there's no sense of weight. When you swing a sword through somebody, there's no sense of connection. And that's the beef that I have with Code Vein that I'm trying to look past, is that striking enemies, I don't get a lot of feedback back as the player. You know, I mean, some of the weapons are ridiculous in it. You know, like anybody that's played like a JRPG or Final Fantasy will be very familiar with like massive bladed weapons that, you know, it looks like your character would struggle getting out of bed in the morning, yet they're throwing these
things around,
two-handed bastard swords like the size of a bus through the air into people's skulls. And it's like, okay, that's fine, I can get past that. But at least then, when I do connect with it, make it feel like it has.
How did they Souls games make that feel then? Did it? I mean, I can understand, you know, you hitting a shield and this bouncing back. I can understand that one, but how did they make the connection feel?
I think a lot of it is through the actual force feedback through the controller.
Okay.
I mean, loads of games do it, but they used it in such a way that the kick that you get through the controller is exactly at the point of impact with the foe that you're hitting. And it just works. It just feels, yeah, that feels right. It sort of ties in with the animation. Again, the Souls games, the animations, like the stagger animations and the parries and ripoffs, they all look cool. You feel like a badass when you pull them off because they look cool as well. Plus, timing is like everything doing that. And you feel cool when it's like, you know, you've got like a Black Knight bearing down on you in Dark Souls. If this thing hits you, it's going to fucking hurt. And you make a split decision, do I evade or do I go toe to toe and riposte the fucker? And you pull it off. It's like, yeah, you feel fucking great. And then you go and do it again and you fuck the timing up. You eat a massive sword in the face and you feel like an idiot. But it's like that time where you got it right, it's like, man, that was worth it. So that sort of sense of connection, and Code Vein doesn't have it. And I think really that and what I picked up, that is a bit of a nuance, a bit of a gripe. And if you were to stand this against any of the Souls games, Bloodbourne, doesn't matter which one it is, From's games have that much more detail in their worlds. Their environments always feel, whether you like the games or not, is irrelevant. But if you actually look at the world that they're set in, they're immensely detailed. The environment is believable for what it is trying to depict. You're in an old castle and you're stood, and you can't, no bad guys, no other players, nothing. You're stood there, but the sound of the wind cutting through that brickwork and the way it's weathered and the lighting coming through all ties together. And especially when you've got nobody, you're not playing with any, there's no external distractions, you're fucking there. This doesn't have that. It has some of it. The sound's pretty cool. There's nice atmospherics there, but the the art assets aren't as strong as a From game. You can see areas that are copy and paste. So because of that, I mean, if you took like a From Software, say for the sake of argument, so people get what I'm saying, if you took like a From Software level and say it was like, I don't know, for the sake of half a kilometre squared, right, and it was in a town, you could walk through that level and still see differences as you move through. Like maybe this is the more expensive district, this is like the not so well off district. Code Vein, it's all the same. It might look cool, but it is the same. And my concern is that I'm going to be fatigued. I know one of the levels coming up actually looks like an area from Dark Souls. It looks like a place called Anno Londo, blatantly so, and it is fucking huge. And it's all white stonework and elaborate trellises of up battlements and, you know, sweeping archways, which is cool. But when you go through that and nothing fucking changes, then I, as a player, start to become fatigued and I start to disengage from it, which is why I don't finish a lot of stuff. So I find it very difficult for games to grab me. If they're a big game, and this is purporting that it is, not to get bored. I have to be engaged, and I need to want to keep playing. So going through levels that are like initially going, oh, this looks fucking cool. This is this is nice. But then when you've spent a sustained period of time there and you're still in the same environment, you're sort of like, can we go somewhere else now? I am bored. So yeah, enemy design is okay, you know. It works with the aesthetic of the rest of the game. I haven't seen anything in monster-wise yet that I've gone, yeah, fuck. Or, I don't want to fucking get near that. But it all works, you know. Again, Dark Souls games, you'd like see like something at the end of like a hallway, and you'll be like, I don't know what that is, but it's going to fuck me up if I get anywhere near it. And then you'd be like, oh, how bad can it be? And then you get shivved in the face and you're dead. And you're like, yeah, it was bad. Where, again, this doesn't convey that. Because, again, a lot of the monsters are bigger than you. Even like the regular guys, they're like probably a good couple of feet taller than you. Because you're always fighting big things that are bigger than you. Yeah. Again, you as a player sort of like, oh, it's just another big guy. All right, it's bigger, but you've been fighting big guys all the time. So again, I think this is the difference when you've got somebody like From that, you know, has got the pedigree of doing this for a while now. Some of their games have been hit and miss with me, but when you've got Namco, Bandai, and these guys, they're in-house guys doing it. Again, there's a fine line between getting it right and fucking it up. And I think that just comes with experience. So I think if there's a second one of this, it will be, not copy and paste like locations in it. So yeah, it's okay. It's fun.
You enjoying it?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.